welcome to Fit Enough. I'm Matt.
And I'm Sai, and in this podcast we help make fitness simple. You forgot my bit.
So focused on my bit. This is episode 4 of Fit Enough, and this is a very special episode because we're going to be talking about Strong Band.
Yay.
And Strong Band is our new fitness product that we are launching in the next couple of months, which we think is going to change the game. It's going to change the game of resistance bands, at-home workouts. It's going to change the game of health and fitness overall. Right?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think sometimes, when we think of game changers, we think something like completely brand new and something completely different. But I think, well, we can see what other people think about whether it's a game changer, but we definitely think it is. But it's just quite a simple addition to an existing product that I think just makes it so much more usable. But we'll talk about that in a bit.
What are we talking about now?
Well, I don't know. It felt a bit like rude to just go straight
You want them to say something first?
Yeah, I feel like we need a bit of like, a bit of chat,
bit of preamble,
bit of foreplay.
Okay. We got back from Vietnam.
Yeah, we did.
Both got hit by a cold that I brought back off the plane.
It's always Matt.
I always get something off the plane. My body just isn't ready for...
I think I know exactly when it happened.
That kind of attitude. What happened?
When you let that really sort of sniffly woman in front of you in the
Wait, when was
toilet.
That? Oh, yes.
And I think she probably the amount of cough she did in there, poor
woman.
Well,
because she turned up at the bathroom and was like dancing around, and you were in there already, and I was just kind of waiting patiently. And she went to like knock, and I was like, "It's going to be weird." So I was just going to think I'm knocking.
Hurry up.
And then, yeah, she was kind of getting more and more impatient. Not that you're in there for a long time. And I was like, I said something like, "Oh, if you're desperate, by all means, you can go first." And she is like, "Oh, are you sure? That'd be nice, because I think I've got gastro." And I was like, "Oh, okay, definitely go first." Gosh, and she'd been like, I've been retching the whole flight. I was like, "Oh my God, please go in front of me." So I didn't, we didn't get gastro, but...
No, although maybe you had that before, but that wouldn't make any sense.
Maybe I gave it to her. But yes, it's been going on for way too long. It's now like 10 days that I've had it, and
I'm hoping I'll beat you to it.
You 100% will. 100%. So yes, although we brought back this plague to Bondi, we are very happy to be here.
It's really not bad at all. Matt's being very dramatic.
Only joking.
It's also very cold now. We've got our heater on over here. I've got a cup of tea. Matt's got a coffee.
Yeah, it feels weirdly nice being in a cold climate though. And if you're in the UK, you're probably rolling your eyes right now. But to go from the heat of Ho Chi Minh, and also we've just been in like a hot climate for a long time, because obviously we went from summer.
Sorry, and that noise I made.
I don't think it picked up.
Okay.
Wait, try and do it again.
No, that's even worse.
It's like a lizard.
Okay, we can maybe cut that out.
Yeah, we just spent a long time in the heat, and then so the first signs of it being cold, I was like, "Oh yes." I've started to feel really Christmassy.
It does feel Christmassy. We were working out like what is the equivalent month here that it would be in the UK if we looked at it from a season point of view. And we are coming into winter, and we said it's
like late September,
beginning of October now.
Yeah.
We're in May.
Yeah. If Christmas is in July, which they kind of do like a second Christmas here anyway, don't they? Yeah. So we're back, and we're hitting the ground running with the Strong Band stuff, with the rest of our stuff as well, to be fair. But this is kind of like the main thing that we're pushing on with at the moment. Was that enough foreplay for you?
I think we're ready, yeah.
All right, take it away.
So we've got Strong Band, which some of you might know about already. So we started our Instagram account a couple of weeks ago now, to get things going. But this was an idea we came up with a good few months ago now, last September.
Yeah.
While we were on our road trip, going from Sydney to the Great Ocean Road in Melbourne. And I think when we spoke about it, well, you know me, I just couldn't stop thinking about it. But it really felt like, wait, why doesn't this exist?
Yeah.
Like, this is such a great idea. Again, you can be the judge of that. But we had a bit of a pause after that. I don't think it felt like, oh, it would be nice to create it, but we've never made anything a product. Like, we just didn't know where to start.
And also, to provide a bit of context, like, you are the sort of person that has an idea or an invention or a new business every 10 or so days. An idea comes up and you say, listen to this, and it's always a really good idea, but maybe something that's not not quite manageable for us at that time. And then with this one, when we were in Melbourne, and you said a band with lines on it, so you can focus on progression and you know exactly how you need to set up. It was a bit of a light bulb moment, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think, like, it was generally something we would want.
Yeah.
And I think even if we didn't go all out into setting up our own like company to make it, I think we would have just wanted to create it for ourselves.
Yeah.
I can't remember if we started Strength and Stretch by that point.
By the Great Ocean Road.
Maybe not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet, but we run Strength and Stretch classes in Bondi by the Bondi Pavilion, and that they're resistance bands classes that we just use resistance bands and a sturdy chair in the class, and we build strength and mobility in them. And I think that was a prime example of, like, yes, we know that people are making progress and people are feeling stronger. It's really hard to see it like day to day, especially if you only have one resistance band. You like, that was a prime example of, like, oh, if we had those bands, it could be so easy to be like, okay, right, is it feeling good? Just bring your hands into number 3. You were on number 4 before, that sort of thing. So I think in our heads, we could clearly see how we were going to use this.
Which is the best possible position to come from for a new product design, right? It's like you've almost already done the market research side of things. You have both sets of audiences, us being PTs and coaches, and then the class being the clients and the certain demographic that we would want to use the product. So then it really does almost just become this no-brainer of, like, seeing how easily it could fit into people's training and then just how much it would help. So imagine a band. You've got your resistance band. It's the long loop one, no handles. Along that band, at even points, you have markers. And each marker is how far apart?
5 centimeters.
5 centimeters. So from our logo in the middle of the band, so strong band here, you then have number 1 either side of the logo. 5 centimeters away from that, number 2, number 3, number 4, 5, 6, 7 on the other side of the band. And you use them not only to get really...
But that's on one side of the band, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you have like a little space, and then it's 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yes. So if you're holding the band straight out in front of you, like, your hand can be on 3 this side and 3 this side.
Yeah.
Corresponding. Look at that. So this really helps you with the setup, because you know exactly where your hands are going. You know you're going to have exactly the same amount of band on one side as the other, because often one of the issues with resistance bands is the setup and how are you meant to know how much band you have on this side, how much band you have on that side.
And that's like I do online PT sessions with my clients, and for most clients we use resistance bands at some point in the session, whether it's part of the warm-up, part of the main strength exercises. And every single time it's like, oh, I think it was about here. I was like, yeah, it's about shoulder width apart, but shoulder width apart can really vary, and what you might sort of be shoulder width apart there, you might be shoulder width
apart there. Depends if you're tensing or not.
Yeah, and that sort of 5-10 centimeters on each side makes a huge difference. So one day you might be like, oh, I feel like I've just gotten weaker, but you haven't. You're just holding a lot more bands. So there's a lot of guesswork, a lot of like, is this right? Whereas if you know you are holding the band exactly the same point, you can then gauge yourself, like, am I feeling stronger? What's going on? I can't remember why I started saying that. But
well, plus there must be a lot of you seeing someone do an exercise, or not a lot of, that's doing a disservice to them. But we had it in the class where it's like, oh, I think you've got slightly too much band on the left. Just bring that left foot out. So it's ensuring that the setup is foolproof, basically. I know myself doing band pull aparts, when you put one hand there and one hand there, you're kind of like, I think that's the right amount of band on each side. The other side of having the numbers is that you can really measure and track your progress using bands over a long period of time, which was the other kind of con issue with using bands previously, pre-strong band.
Pre-strong band. PSB.
BSB, before strong band.
Before strong band. Yeah, so we think this is going to be a game changer because it's a product that I think lots of people will already have and be familiar with. They're in lots of gyms, they're used in lots of classes, but we're just making it better, just a bit better than what's out there already.
That's the thing. It's not brand new invention. It's just making something that is already good better, because this adds another layer of accessibility to strength training in general. Because if we already say, okay, we recognize that strength training is doable at home, you don't necessarily have to be in a gym, and therefore everyone can take part in it and everyone can benefit from it. You then hit that next hurdle, which we've always said, particularly with 20-minute strength, of like, how do I now implement strength training? I know I can do it, but how? And this is just almost like creating a whole nother layer to that blueprint of how you can strength train.
Yeah. And I think that's that's another huge important thing of like accessible, effective strength training, because you could be strength training at home, and any form of exercise is going to be beneficial, but if you want to make the most progress and be really efficient with your time, then you need to be able to measure it. So having bands where you can actually measure it just means your sessions are just going to be way more effective. You're going to be more focused, and people can genuinely build a significant amount of strength from using just resistance bands.
Yeah. Well, because we're both at a point now with our training where you're predominantly using resistance bands, aren't you? I'm using mostly body weight and some resistance bands in there as well. So we're very much like putting it to the test and hopefully demonstrating how it can be done. And as soon as we get our grubby little mitts on those bands, it's going to be next level. So why don't we bring people up to speed on what we've done so far? So we had the idea. We're now fully focused on bringing it into production.
Yeah.
Latest things have been speaking to manufacturers, logistics, things like that, right?
Yeah. think even before that, when we got the idea, we're like, how do we protect it? Like,
oh yeah, that
people are going
was
to
a big
steal the
thing.
idea. So we sort of wanted to keep it a secret until we registered it. So it's a registered design in the UK. And learning so much about all these IP
Yeah.
rights and everything. But when we launch, we're planning to launch in Australia and in the UK and Europe, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to work it out. We think so. UK and Europe, and then Australia and New Zealand. But then in terms of like intellectual property and what that means for the design, while it's registered in the UK, we have like 6 months from when it's registered to then register it anywhere else in the world. And we'll be able to backdate it.
Mm-hmm.
So it all counts as the original date. So hopefully it means we're protected and no one's going to jack our idea.
Yeah. Are you not going to jack this one?
So we did that, and then we got our first samples while we were in Vietnam.
Yeah, this was all in Vietnam. So while we were traveling, we applied to register the design. We got successful application back, and we got when we arrived in Sapa at the hotel desk. Was it in our room already?
No.
Or was that at the desk? Was our first prototype of the band that the manufacturer had sent to our Airbnb/hotel in Sapa. So that was a very cool experience of turning up to a cold, foggy Sapa and having the first prototype of Strong Band.
Yeah, after I think 17-hour night bus.
Yeah.
We were knackered, but very excited.
I think that's what kept us going. That's what kept us alive.
We'd have been dead on that bus.
Those buses weren't terrible. That first one was pretty intense.
Yeah. There was there's like a huge variation in like the level of service and quality of the bus, or like the type of bus. And I think the first one we went on, like, we had to use Google Translate to find out what was going on. We still didn't know what was going on. This was when we were in Hanoi, waiting for the bus to go to, I think it's the one to Cao Bang. And we were just waiting for ages. And then there were these tiny buses coming, and everyone, like, there's, I don't know, it felt like 100 people or more just waiting on this like street corner. And these tiny buses would come, and everyone would like pack on. And there was like 4 or 5, and we were just like waiting, and we didn't know what was happening. And then we used Google Translate to be like, is this the bus to Cao Bang? And they're like, yeah, get on. And we got on, and it was just a tiny bus we were sitting. It was like, this was going to be a 17-hour journey where we were just like sat still, packed. We had like our luggage that we were just holding on to.
It was like a mini school bus, and you're just sitting upright, like, right, time to go to sleep.
And then we wanted to watch, I can't remember what we were watching at the time, Not Making a Murderer.
No, it was the Aaron Hernandez documentary, wasn't it?
I got my laptop out, we were there just like watching it, this random people either side of us were like, right, this is going to be the next 17 hours, let's check in.
Yeah, huddle around.
But then thankfully after 10 minutes, that was like a shuttle bus to take us to our actual night bus, which was better. It wasn't, significantly better. We're still like, but yeah.
It was funny turning up to that bus station, and I think it was us two other like Italian tourists, and then the rest of the bus was just Vietnamese locals. Mm-hmm. And so when we turned up to this bus station, and you could then see all of the big sleeper buses, the 4 of us were all kind of like, oh, okay, this was to transport us here. And like, just all the Vietnamese people just had a little wry smile on their face, like, these idiots. Look at them with their laptop out.
Silly.
Yeah, and then that one was intense. Sapa got the prototype. It wasn't perfect, but because the lines were slightly off, weren't they? So then we went back to the manufacturer and said, like, the purpose of the lines is to be able to track progress. And then straight away they sent through a picture of an updated version,
which was spot on.
And we were like, yeah, good to go.
That's it.
And then what happened, Si?
And then did we start putting together a project plan?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this can get picked up.
Maybe.
A bit of noise outside. What else were we doing? We were doing loads. Oh, logo. We got our logo made.
Yes, which took a while. Partly because we weren't entirely sure what we wanted for a logo, but we landed on a good one.
Got one out there already on Instagram, and we're going to reveal a little glow up from it.
We were drawing designs while we were in. It was when we got to Ho Chi Minh, wasn't it? We were drawing designs at lunchtime to try and think about what we wanted it to look like. So yeah, logo's done. Speaking to logistics companies about all of the madness to do with tariffs and shipping and import, and it's a lot.
Yeah.
So wrapping our heads around that, but again, very interesting to learn about. And one of those times where you're like, oh, the geopolitical world is actually impacting me. So yeah, navigating all of that is a bit of a task, but very interesting. And then that brings us to now, where we have been drafting messages to gyms and physios and thinking about the best way to get in contact with people and just basically getting the word out there about the bands.
Yeah. It does feel it's really, really exciting. It's like definitely one of our like obsessions at the moment.
Definitely yours.
Definitely my obsession. Like we'll be doing something completely unrelated, and I'll just be like, and we can do this, and this could be the next product, and this. Which is probably not the most helpful things to be thinking about right now. But yeah, we're going all in. We were planning originally to do a Kickstarter. For those not familiar with Kickstarter, it's like a crowd fundraising platform where people who have new inventions or new products or new ideas will put it up on Kickstarter and then open it up for people to back the project. So you essentially normally get the product before anyone else, and then you pay for it in advance, and all that funding then goes to getting it made. So if we were to do the Kickstarter, we'd hopefully crowdfund the cost to take it to mass production, and then once that's done, we then send everyone who's backed us a product. But with timelines and everything, like didn't appreciate how long it takes to manufacture something in bulk and then get it shipped as well.
Yeah.
So if we did that, it would take us, I think it was like November or something before people would actually get the product. So we're trying to fast forward it a bit, but that is a bigger risk.
It is a risk. We're
putting lots of our funding into it,
and we're investing our money up front to just fully back it. Because I mean, why the hell not? And it's something that we both really, really, really believe in. So whether it takes off initially as much as we hope or not, we were saying this the other day, we're still going to be trying to get the product out there as much as possible. So even if it doesn't take off wildly, the kind of goal is still going to be the same. So what's money?
It's fun to try.
Just try it.
I think I'm over the like embarrassment. I think initially when I think I first put myself out there for, I don't know, saying I'm doing a PT qualification and I'm a PT and here's my page, like that was like, I felt like sick, being like, oh, all these people are going to see me like try and do something, and I've got no followers, or like I'm like I just look like such a try hard. That was like the thought that crept up, but obviously I didn't listen to it. And now I'm just like, whatever, man.
Yeah.
Like just try and do things, and it's cool.
Yeah. No, I think definitely with my initial business out of uni, I was kind of, I think I was naive enough to maybe not have that impact me too much. Also, it wasn't really something that I was shouting about.
Which business was that?
This was Taste Buds, which we'll come on to in a second, actually. And then once I stopped that and was then a year or so later thinking about the next thing I want to do, I definitely had that feeling of like, oh my God, people are going to see me trying again.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to know that the first one wasn't $1 million idea, and now they're going to point and laugh at me. Just in the street.
It's so mad, isn't it? That
trying again. Yeah, but then since then, and obviously we launched 20-Minute Strength, which again wasn't $1 million idea, but has helped a fair few people, which we're very happy about. And I think it's kind of changed my perception on the whole, like, starting a business or selling a product or service type of route, in that you don't necessarily have to start it and the next day be headline news of like this revolutionary thing that's changed the world. Like, it can be to just help a few people, or possibly add to people's lives in some way.
All part of the journey.
All part of the journey. And then the other side of Strong Band that was also a recent revelation. I can't remember exactly how it came up.
I remember.
Oh, go on.
We were in the War Remnants Museum in...
Oh, yeah. Where all good ideas happen.
In Ho Chi Minh, so looking at the impact of the American War, the Vietnam War, American War, that it had on the Vietnamese people, also American people, but particularly the Vietnamese people. And it was horrific, and it's one of those moments where, you know, everyone knows what's happened, but then when you're fully immersed in it and you are giving the time and the space to just let yourself see things from other people's eyes and empathize and really listen to the stories and read about it, and see the pictures and the videos again, like, that was so horrific and so sad that it just makes you question, what the hell are you doing with your life, like, when there's so much suffering. And now, you know, there's still so much suffering in the world, and it's so easy to just switch off from that and be like, oh, I'm just going to do my thing. And I think often we kind of have to do that to not just be massively depressed. But I think at the same time, I want to be doing something. And I think we were both just crying in there, like, separately, like, you like
don't look at me.
Don't look at, like, and we're like, what can we do? And you know, even though obviously I don't know how much of an impact we're going to end up making, but we're like, look, let's try and support the most vulnerable people out there to help provide some opportunities. That's, you know, great. We're helping people with PT, and we love doing that. With our programs, we love doing that, you know, but often, you know, that's just one side, and that's one demographic of people. And we want to make a bigger impact. So working with charities who work with children who are really disadvantaged and don't have access to sports equipment, or, you know, physio for regaining sort of normal movement back. And we don't know exactly who we're going to partner with, but that's something that is really important to us. I think, I know for you, like, that seemed to be a switch where you're like, shit, I'm super excited about trying to make this happen now.
Yeah, well, so the band, obviously, as we said, the bands were initially your idea, and like, I obviously want to do as much as I can to help, but like it was your baby, and then we're going ahead with it and trying to like figure out each other's roles and stuff and what each of us is going to take on in terms of the tasks. um and so yeah, there was that question mark over like how I could help as much as possible whilst juggling all the other stuff. um and I think I remember the corner of the museum where it must have happened to both of us, because I feel like everyone who passed that corner would then come back out crying, because some of the pictures, it was those pictures there. I think there were a few pictures of kids and women, which is just so horrific that people were just breaking down and yeah, coming away from that being like, what the hell is this? And I think we must have both had that moment of like questioning whether we're doing enough with the situation we're both fortunate enough to be in. Um, and I think we both come from that background of wanting to help. Because obviously you went straight into teaching after you left university. Um, Taste Buds, which was the business I started, which we just mentioned, was working with schools to deliver healthy cookery workshops to kids. And I was doing this with my brother, and the ones that we found the most like impactful for us were those schools in disadvantaged areas where the kids were coming to school without having breakfast, and like, we're talking about grabbing a can from the cupboard to have for dinner and things like that, a can of food. Crack open a can and that's my Wednesday. Um, and so I think that really hit home of like, are we definitely doing enough? Because we're both these sorts of people that want to be doing enough, but have we got swept up too much in the just trying to tread water for ourselves? And so you said after the museum, didn't you? You're like questioning whether you are doing enough. And I said, like, through your PT, you're helping so many people. Of course you are. But then I guess we were both left with that question of what more could we do? And then I have always wanted to work with kids in some capacity. And after stopping Taste Buds, it's always been on my mind of how I could come back round to working with kids. And then this seemed like the perfect opportunity of donating some of the proceeds that we get from strong bands to charities that we find that help disadvantaged kids, and just seeing how much of a difference we can actually make.
I think before we discussed that, I think we knew we wanted to do something bigger than just business.
Yeah.
But I think it's always come from, when I reach here, when I get this goal, when I'm earning this much,
which
then
must
we can
be
do
so
something
common.
massive. Yeah, and I think I definitely, have felt that all my life of just like, I could be doing more, but we're not in like necessarily like the best financial position. So it's like we need to wait till we're secure, until we've got like our own house or whatever it might be. But there's always something you can do to make someone else's life so much better, even if it's like the tiniest thing. And I know in like Islam, it's a part of the religion to give a percentage of your earnings, and it's like that's such a lovely thing to be able to do. And why can't we do that as a new business? And why aren't more businesses doing it?
Yeah.
We might find out it's a terrible business decision, but I want to try it. Like, I want to really, really try it, because I don't see why we can't put the two together, and try and make an impact right from the start.
Yeah. And then it was the next day where Sai came up with the tagline, "We're stronger when we band together," and that was the moment.
Yeah, it's a bit dramatic, but you know.
It's not perfect. Perfect. So we've been looking at charities, haven't decided on which ones to donate to initially.
Yeah, if anybody knows any, let us know. We're looking at charities in Australia and the UK, so it's like reflective of the people who get the bands. We want to make that impact in those local areas.
Yeah, yeah, we found some really cool ones so far, but we want to maybe try and help some smaller ones, seeing as we're a smaller business, and I think that'd be quite nice if they're helping a specific area or something. I think that'd be quite cool. So yes, we have the vision to help strength training become more accessible to more people, but then we also have this broader purpose and goal of Strong Band, I think, which is to
Banding
make sure,
together, to make the world a better place. Oh no, I changed it again. What was it?
That really is dramatic.
Because we're stronger when we band together.
There we go. And I think that brings us up to date, doesn't it?
I think so. I think this might be a long one.
This might be a long one. So quickly, where are we taking it from here? Because we get the bands in a couple of weeks' time.
Yes. We should get the bands in a couple of weeks' time, and then we've got a photo shoot booked.
Yeah.
The next week, where we're going to get our like professional product shots. And then once we've got them, we're going to take the samples everywhere, show people, maybe film some Instagram content.
Yeah.
Try and beat my embarrassment and just try and reach out to strangers.
I was going to say that's another moment of just not having to care what people think and go for it.
Yeah, we're going to try and those videos you might see of people like, are you interested in trying my product? Or we'll need to think of how we do it. But yeah, get some content and really go for it. And then we'll have our launch TBC. But what were we saying? July?
Yeah.
Is it July?
I think so.
Maybe July. Maybe August. Might even be September. We'll let you know.
Okay.
But yeah, we were going to create our website, our Shopify website. Yeah, just get the word out there.
Get selling, door-to-door salesmen and women. Present company included. So that's it, guys. Follow along with the Strong Band journey. We'll keep you updated, but you can also follow Instagram page which we set up, which is _strong_band. And yeah, also just tell us what you think about the idea and if you're interested in buying it eventually. It would be good to know that we've got at least a couple of sales.
All right.
All right?
Yeah.
Anything more to add?
Have a good day.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.